Sawgrass out from the 5th tee. This first hole looks like a par 3, but it's actually a par 4. I think even those with the very lowest of stats, well, maybe not the very, very lowest, but once you've got a few stats under your belt, you'll be getting an eagle here. There's a couple of tricky pins. This isn't one of them. The trickiest pin is right at the front, because it's quite hard to stop the ball from rolling on to the downhill slope there. This I'm just going to play a fairly full 2-iron, and it will hit on the downslope a little bit, and it'll roll on and stop close to the pin. Again, there's not many tricky places you'll find to put here. Even with the long putts, the green isn't particularly undulating, so most players you'll see in the World Championship will get an eagle here. 15 under is perfect for most players. I think if you've got really, really, really high stats, you can possibly eagle the 5th, which would make it 16 under. But for my stats, 15 under is the best I can do. What I'm going to play here is a power shot. You would have seen me do this on a few holes. It's just a bit too far to pitch it with the approach wedge. I really don't like the pitching wedge. It travels far too low. So I'll play a power shot with, in fact, I've just gone for a full approach wedge, taking the power off it. So just a full approach wedge there, essentially. You'll see it rolls on a little bit, not far away from the hole, that one. Doesn't stop as quickly as a pitch shot would, so it's a good if you're going for hole-in-ones, trying to get it really close to the pin. It's nice if the ball doesn't stop totally dead, because you want to have a chance of it rolling into the hole. This one, generally be aiming round about here for a full pitch in. I can just about make get it within flopping distance with a draw, so I'm going to draw it around the trees and aim for that area there. You'll notice it'll finish a bit short of where the marker is. That's because it's quite a bit above me, and also there's an uphill slope, so you'll see the ball stop pretty quick. So it's going to strike the fairway and roll on a little bit. In actual fact, it went over the hill and rolled down the other side, so got comfortably within with 107 yards, but that's actually close enough to flop it with that wind behind. I'm going to play in fact I'll probably play a full sand wedge flop here. You'll notice with the pitching wedge that's going 93 yards. In fact, I've gone with a full pitching wedge. I thought I would have dropped it back a bit there, because the sand wedge will go a bit higher and the wind would push it forward a little bit more. I'd obviously decided on a pitching wedge. It wasn't a bad choice looking at that. So simple tap in eagle. It's a little bit above the cup. I prefer not to leave downhill putts, but when they're as close as that, that's good enough. So that was the first par 5. Here's the second par 3. A little bit more straightforward than the first. There's no bunker to worry about in front of the green. A nice big green, a slight slope left to right. So ideally you want to leave it about where the marker is there to leave yourself an uphill putt. I've got 2-yard wind behind. I'm going for a backspin shot. Several tries at it, so thank goodness I'm fast forwarding it like that. Thank you again, Alex. Okay, so that'll stop fairly dead. The right side of the hole, as far as the gradient, it'll be slightly uphill, this one, with a bit of break. You're not going to miss many of those putts. It's a funny course in the World Championship. It's usually very tight, this one. The holes 6, 7 and 9 are the 3 swing holes where you'll often see it won or lost. This is very straightforward. No matter what your stats, as long as you can get past that bunker you just saw me fly over, you're really just going to blaze it down the fairway. Again, very close to being able to make the green here, so I'd imagine someone with a few hundred more stats than me could probably just get on, and sometimes the pin's right at the front. Even where it is there, you can probably make it with a putt, but it's quite a heavy uphill slope, so if the pin's any further back than that, you're not going to make it with a putt. You'll not be able to hit it hard enough. So this is just a chip. You will see chips going here quite a lot. As you can see, there's not a lot of break on it, so it's going to move over to the right a little bit after it lands, and it's quite heavily uphill, so the challenge here is getting the pace of the shot right. You can aim it pretty much bang on the hole here. I think I've probably gone a bit too far left. Yeah, just slightly. So actually pace of that was pretty much bang on. Just could have adjusted a little bit further to the right. But again, a tap-in birdie. So the next one is one of the swing holes I was talking about. It's quite easy to, you usually get a pin at the front here, It's over to the right. That's quite a friendly pin actually. The pin right at the front is hard because the green slopes right away from you, and you generally, depending on your stats, you'll be going with one of the woods. It's become a lot easier since they've introduced the sky shot because, for obvious reasons, it goes so high and it stops a lot shorter. So you can actually land it on that hill and it'll move forward in a friendly way, and you want it to kick forward a little bit with the trajectory it's got. If you land it on there with a full wood without playing the sky shot, it'll roll right off to the back of the green a lot of the time. So you'll see here with that slope it skips forward a little bit, went over to the left a little bit as well, which I didn't really want, but not too far away and not too difficult to put. The next one, you'll have seen if you've watched my trick shots video. There's a lot of trees around the green which you can actually drive straight through, and I do so on the next hole. It's another par 4. Generally you can draw it around. In fact, with that wind it's quite friendly to draw it around and just pitch it to the bottom right of the green. But on this occasion you can see where I'm pointing there. If I pull the marker back, any trees further back than the ones you can see on screen at the moment, you can actually drive straight through. So if you watch, I'll need to get it through these 2 trunks, but after that, as long as I don't catch these branches that you can see, it's going to fly underneath them and go onto the green. For that reason I'm using a 1 wood underpowered, because it flies lower than a 2 or 3 wood. If I hit the same pace with a 2 wood or a 3 wood, it would basically hit these branches. You'll see it go under just here. So it's actually, with a 1 wood, it's travelling quite quickly and quite low, but that rough's taking the pace on it. Off it. I wanted to go a little bit past the hole. As you can see here on the green, if I was a bit further back, there's a bit of a undulation in the green that makes the putt a little bit more tricky, but where it is there, straightforward enough. The next hole, the 8th, is another par 5. It's very straightforward indeed. They've made it a little bit more tricky recently. Just fast forwarded past the replay there, didn't think you wanted to see that. A little bit more tricky recently with the introduction of that bunker, but you really want to be leaving your tee shot short of that anyway if you want an easy enough approach shot. If you round about where that bunker is, it would be about 100-120 yards from the pin, which is really not a good distance. It's out of flop distance and it's too short for a pitch, and it's quite difficult to control. So I've played a full forward there. No chance of reaching the bunker, and a full shot, so 1 extra point where points matter. Distance I've left this is a fairly full pitch shot with a sand wedge, should be. So although it's 190 yards and the sand wedge will only go about 178, I think, with the wind behind and also with the downward elevation. That means I'll be hitting it fairly full with a sand wedge. In fact, I think what I do here is I do hit a full shot, and you can see the green slopes away from us, and it rolls off pretty close to the back of the green, but I was confident it would remain on the green. In some ways, that's a better shot than leaving it dead because it's still within 5.4 yards for the nice approach. I've played a full shot, so I get 1 extra point, and I believe I can play a full putt here, so there's 1 extra point again. So if I'd played that slightly short with a sand wedge, I would have lost out on 1 point because I wouldn't have played a full shot. Also, I wouldn't have been able to play the full putt, so potentially there would have been a 2 point swing on that hole. Again, points generally don't come into it if you put a great round in, but if it comes down to it and it's a tie, they are important. This one's a straightforward draw around the tree. The elevation in front of the green, it's slightly downhill, so you'll find you can hit it a bit shorter than you think, and it will roll onto the green at the front, which is pretty much what we want to do. If this lands on the green, it's going to be way over the back, so we want it basically to land in between the 2 bunkers, roll on and go just past the pin, leaving an uphill putt. That's the ideal scenario. It'll kick off to the right a little bit, and that's pretty much what I wanted. You get some trickier pins than that one. That's probably the easiest pin on this hole. Anyway, next up after this one is Sands 5T. Now, I've done that many videos on Sands 5T recently. Just search up if you haven't seen them. So I don't see the point in doing another one. So just watch that one if you're interested in Sands. And I'll move on to Interlaken 4T for the next one. Interlaken Inn, which is a fairly easy course. So see you for that one. Thanks very much.